Welcome to Certain Point of View, your first step into a much nerdier world. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on iTunes. Just go to certainpov.com. Thanks. And now your hosts, Ben Milton and Addy Thomas.
Hey, Nerf Herders, I'm Addy Thomas.
And I am Ben Milton.
Thanks for joining us. I am still congested, as I was the last week, so we'll just have to...
What is up with you, man?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just... I need to get a humidifier and
Not
like one of those
doctor?
essential oil things.
No, you didn't stop with the essential oils.
What's wrong with essential oils?
Oh, come on. Stop with that.
Clears my nose,
Jenny
man.
puts that stuff on for the kids, and she's like, wear this, it'll make blah, 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 blah. I'm like, nonsense.
Well, I'm not saying it's going to cure cancer or anything, but...
It's not going to cure anything.
It my state of congestion is practically constant, with just sometimes where it's worse than others.
Right, yeah. Your state of congestion is the point where you need medical intervention, not magic.
Yeah, well, it's not magic, man. Don't hate on my alchemy-loving brothers.
You can go outside and clip some herbs.
My druid and WoW is making me essential oils and sending me.
Essential oils. That's the best comparison ever. I love that.
Before we get any further down this rabbit hole, don't forget, you can always check out what we're doing through the podcast if you want to be a part of it through Patreon, if you want to find out all of our social media, or if you just want to share the podcast with your friends and family, just go to our website, certainpov.com. In fact, a big development recently is that we have split out sort of the three kinds of episodes that we've done on Certain Point of View into three separate feeds. So this show, Certain Point of View, and sort of any episodes with just me and Ben talking, maybe with a guest every now and then, which is a news show, and every now and then we'll have some special episodes depending on when topics arise. That will always be available on this particular feed. But from now on, all episodes of Another Pass with Case Aiken will be on a separate feed, and all episodes of the Scruffy Nerf Herders, or the Star Wars D20 RPG game, Star Wars Dungeons and Dragons style, all of that that's gonna be on its own feed as well.
On a third feed.
Exactly. So each of those are now. So if you're really into the D20 game and just want to listen to that, and that we're expecting to do maybe 1 or 2 episodes a month with that, you can subscribe to that. With Another Pass, we're also looking at maybe 2 episodes a month that Case is planning on doing. You can subscribe to just that if that's the only show you want to do, or if you want to do 2 and not all three shows.
We would love it if you did all 3. That
Absolutely.
would be the best, and we'd appreciate it. So please, we're going to put the links to all these for all 3 shows.
Yes.
Well, I guess you already have this link, so we don't need to put that link in.
Yeah, certainpov.com.
But the link for the other iTunes shows that you can get, and RSS feeds and stuff like that, we'll put in the show description. You'll be able to just click on that and then subscribe to it. It'll also be available on our website. And then, please go to iTunes. If you're on iTunes and using you're listening, through iTunes, rate, review, and subscribe to all 3 shows. That really helps us a lot in getting the word out there and letting people know what is, what's available. So that'd be huge for us. Thank you.
All of that again at certainpov.com. So before we get into some of the news today, I got these amazing pair of shoes.
I saw the picture up on Instagram.
Right? It was, Death Star inspired shoes. I saw about a month ago there was a press release from StarWars.com. Sperry was doing their 40th anniversary Star Wars shoes basically, and there was 5 different options for these shoes. And usually I go slip-on shoes, but the slip-on shoes were a little too garish, I guess is the right word for it.
Okay.
SAT word of the day, garish.
Garish. Not garage.
No, not garage. That's a different thing. That's an overused villain that went way too far in World of Warcraft. But I went for the sort of these just gray with Imperial insignia on the sides and this green lining around,
like a pinstripe.
Pinstripe around the top.
Yeah.
That was basically inspired by the Death Star laser, so it's like Death Star shoes.
Okay, I didn't put the 2 and 2 together about the Death Star laser, but I like it.
That was what they put on the blog. I was like, okay, that works for me because I'm not too flashy with my shoes. Yeah, exactly. So I like a little bit more. I'm more reserved. I think that just worked better. And I was so excited. I saw the shoes come in. They looked amazing. I wore them out today. I got to work and I needed to claw them off. It was horrible. And this is not my first experience with Sperry's, because the thing is, these were the right size, and I still feel like sort of the fabric, even though the shoes are off right now, I can feel like where the fabric was sort of cutting into my heel.
Oh, that's a bad feel.
Yeah, and like that's what happened this morning. So like I had to just like, I was walking around in my socks at some points during work today, unless I had to like actually go out a little further out from my cubicle. You know, it was too painful to walk in. Like walking home, like walking to the metro.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a seat on the metro today.
You had to stand the whole time.
It was so bad.
That is the worst.
Yeah.
There's, it's funny because Jenny just like 2 weeks ago was like, "Hey, I'm going to Kohl's. I'm going to go pick you because I need new athletic shoes, like cross trainers or whatever. Because I've had these pair of Reeboks for about forever, and like the soles are just completely flat. Like there's no tread left on it. Like they're just barely holding. They smell. I mean, they're awful. They're awful shoes. I need a new pair." She's like, "I'll pick you up a new pair of shoes." Yeah, and I'm like, "No, you cannot pick me up another pair." She's like, "You need a pair of shoes." I'm like, "That is the one thing I will never let you buy me. I'm super picky about my shoes for the exact reason that you are describing right now. It's why I won't buy shoes online.
Really?
I won't do it.
You don't buy shoes online?
That's the one thing I will not do. I have to try them on.
See, buying shoes online have actually been like sort of a thing for me to finally get into buying shoes, because I hate going to stores, period.
I do too, but I shoes,
Trying to
I'm not willing to just like put on just any old pair of shoes on my feet.
If I remember, actually, when getting to know you is when I started being a little bit more pickier with my taste in shoes.
We used to go to DSW at lunch.
Yes, that's right. That's when that started.
That's the gayest thing we've ever said on this podcast.
I don't know about that. But it's at least top 5.
Definitely. Oh, that is fantastic. Oh.
But I will say, though, because even, we've also done other projects together. Through one of our businesses, there's an online shoe store that's affiliated with us, and I started shopping through there once I got into business with you, and I have never looked back on there, because the return if it doesn't fit, the return policy is really easy, exchange, and I've had a couple instances where I've had to I needed to get one size larger because that particular shoe was what I needed. I just needed something a little bit different, and it's worked wonders. I've actually found the exact shoes that I like, and I have like complete brand loyalty now, except for this one moment lapse in judgment.
Yeah, you gotta I'm real serious. Like I was a Nike guy for like a good 20 years of my life. Like when I was a teenager, I worked at a local like sneaker store in high school.
Yeah.
And I became a Nike guy because they just fit the best. Like, there was like Bo Jacksons had just come out.
Yeah.
I had a pair of those, I had a pair of Jordans. I Nike all the way.
Yeah.
And now as I've gotten older and fatter, like my feet have gotten a little wide for Nikes. So I'm having to slip into Reeboks and Asics. And I'm like, they're just not quite as good. I'm such a total shoe snob. It's embarrassing.
Well, before we turn this into a certain point of view about shoes, we'll actually get into some nerd news now. So Marvel Television's crossover series The Defenders isn't performing as well as Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, or even the ill-received Iron Fist in its first 30 days in the U.S. Variety reports that the 8-episode miniseries, which saw the Marvel Netflix heroes unite on screen for the first time, received just 17% of the viewership that Daredevil Season 2 opened to in its first 30 days. The series also had the largest week-over-week drop in terms of viewers, declining by 67%, 48%, and 41% over the first few weeks. It's also worth noting, though, that Netflix does not release viewing data, and so third-party companies estimate viewership. In this case, the report utilizes data from marketing analytics firm JumpShot. What's more, Netflix views their performance over a longer time frame than 30 days. Nonetheless, these approximated figures could be worrying for Marvel Television.
Okay, so I got a couple thoughts about this. I think there's a couple of reasons for it. One, the season before, the show before that, you had Iron Fist, which was their biggest one. Like that had their most downloads right out of the gate, as far as what these independent researchers could tell. Because again, Netflix doesn't say. But it wasn't a loved series.
No,
people,
it was controversial at best.
At best, everybody was kind of like, at best, it was like, it's got some issues.
Yeah.
You know, like we panned it. A lot of people panned it. A lot of
Yeah.
people were like, this is not good television. This is not okay. So you got that leading in, like that was supposed to be a big lead in to bring all the Defenders together. And then I think ultimately, I think they also did a really bad job of telling a story that was interesting and made sense. Like it was a big mystery
For the Defenders?
Yeah, about what the Hand was doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the whole black sky thing, like, I mean, it was confusing and you really didn't know.
Do you think it was overly dependent on the previous series?
For sure, one, it was overly dependent, but it also was underdeveloped in a lot of ways. Of like, I wasn't really sure what they were like. I knew they were going to be fighting the Hand, but we still had no idea why or what was going on. So like, I think they did a bad job of kind of telling that larger story to make people want to go, oh, hey, we need to see this all wrap up. Like all these different stories are leading somewhere. It didn't feel like they were all leading somewhere. Right. It felt like they were just like little elements woven in, but it didn't really add up to a big story for most of it.
Yeah, and I agree. I feel like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage didn't really have... I mean, they had a reason to be there because of who they are. And honestly, though, they were two of sort of the more interesting characters to me, just because they found interesting ways to bring them in. I still really enjoy the Defenders. It has villain issues, you know. They're not quite as and only in comparison to the other series, to be perfectly honest, because Kingpin and Purple Man and Cottonmouth are just absolutely amazing villains. Yeah, some of the best, not just in terms of comic book storytelling,
but just TV.
Yeah, exactly. So it hurt that it was a very vague villain. I could see that it's also an issue like so the Black Sky was something really established with the Daredevil series. The Hand was sort of established in the Daredevil series, and then the Hand had a major part in Iron Fist. So Iron Fist being so significant to the story, and he is the most important character in this particular series. So him being sort of the guiding action, and him being so like hit or miss with this, especially. He was mostly miss in Iron Fist, and he was very hit or miss even in the Defenders. Right. So it didn't help, but
I think that's kind of my third point is like, you know, you're pushing this through with Iron Fist being like sort of the main guy that all this is swirling around. Yeah. Like that was a poor choice. They should have put it back on Daredevil, who's their most popular character. Yeah. And drive the story with Daredevil and have Iron Fist assisting. Because they could have easily done that because of the tie-in with Stick.
That's true. That's
all they had to. They just had to switch that, and instead of trying to make Danny more than what the audience wanted him to be, and it would have been giving you a chance then to also develop Danny as more of a hero, to give him time on the sidelines and not the central character to the story. I think. I mean, it's so hard. It's so hard. I mean, it's easy to say in 2020's hindsight and all that, and looking back, you're like, oh well, this is what I would do if I was Netflix, Marvel, you know. But I think overall, I think they made really good choices. Look, the fact that they're saying that downloads are down doesn't mean that this is a failure either. That's something to consider as well. It doesn't mean that like, oh my God, Marvel Netflix is dead. Right. It just means that downloads weren't as good as it has been on other shows.
And they've been amazing. That's the thing.
And that's like Iron Fist was through the roof. It was their best one yet. Yeah. So for it to be
Luke
less
Cage
than
crashed Netflix.
Yeah. So for it to be less than an Iron Fist, you'd be like, okay. I don't think anybody's panicking at Marvel or at Netflix over this.
Showtime has acquired the rights to The President is Missing, the upcoming thriller novel by President Bill Clinton and best-selling author James Patterson. It will be developed as a TV series. Now, the thing is, this novel isn't even out yet. This novel is expected June 2018.
Yeah, the only thing the president's missing is getting head in the Oval Office.
Hey-o!
Come on. Who cares? How is this news?
I think it's interesting that, like, as far as like stories being on demand, that automatically the president, an ex-president being the
writing a novel.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ,
is enough for it to be like, yep, we're making the TV deal, like
the whole 9 yards. Do we even know if Bill can write?
Well, it's James Patterson writing. Let's be honest.
It's Bill's ideas.
Yeah, which I mean, like. People love the guy. Like, I mean, let's be honest. You know people are going to love his press tour for this thing.
Oh.
You know it already. Oh. It's hard not to like the guy.
I don't like the guy.
Well, just take away the politics from it. Just him as, like, one-on-one, just, like, his personality.
I don't like the guy.
Really?
No, that's not his personality that I'm attracted to. I don't like that, like... super like glad handing.
Yeah.
I don't like politicians.
That's fair.
I don't like politicians. He's not a guy I like.
So Mark Hamill and also Game of Thrones' Lena Headey and David Bradley, well, they've joined the recurring voice cast.
Wait.
Sure.
Which one was David Bradley?
David Bradley is the guy who played Walder Frey.
Oh, okay. So he's got a great voice.
Yeah, exactly. And so and Lena Headey and of course Mark Hamill. All of these guys
great actors.
Great actors, but also great villains too.
Yeah.
So they are part of the recurring voice cast for season 2 of Netflix's acclaimed DreamWorks Trollhunters, which is from Guillermo del Toro and DreamWorks Animation TV, which is a show. It popped up. I decided, okay, I'll watch it. And then I saw Del Toro's name attached to it. I was like, I'm definitely going to watch it because it's a Del Toro project that actually came
happened.
Out. Right?
He followed through. It's amazing.
I started watching one episode, and it's a little kiddie, but I couldn't stop watching.
Oh, it's funny because I watched the first episode with my kids, and my kids were like, fuck
it's too dark.
This.
It definitely gets even darker than that.
Yeah, so, yeah. We were like, all right, well, I'll watch it by myself.
Yeah, I can definitely see it being a little scary for younger kids.
Melanie tried to like crawl inside me. She was so creeped out.
Really?
She was like, I do not like this.
Well, it's Del Toro. That makes sense. Yeah. I can see that. So Hamill voices the unknown older brother to a member of the troll hunting team, but he's pledged his loyalty to the big bad, the evil Gunmar. Headey plays an extremely powerful and evil sorceress who must be stopped at all costs, while Bradley voices a mysterious figure known to have great magical powers. But the Trollhunters find he's not the mystical wizard they expected. Season 2 picks up with Jim, the lead, played by the late Anton Yelchin, entering the Darklands by himself, leaving his friends and fellow Trollhunters Toby and Claire behind. It's slated to premiere this year, and apparently Yelchin had actually done enough voice work to get through season 2 before his death.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about it. This is a show that I do need to sit down and find time to binge, but I haven't done it. Hell of a cast.
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro makes it interesting, makes it weird.
Kelsey Grammer's in it too.
It's a hell of a cast.
Yeah, it's a really good cast. If I had to choose between this and Voltron, I'd choose Voltron, but this is very close and it is up there.
Wow, that's high praise.
It's very like great animation quality, 3D animation, but it's really, really cool. It's just one of those things. The moment it comes out, I know I'll be binging it. Well, the premiere of Star Trek Discovery on CBS All Access drove a record number of single-day signups at CBS's digital streaming subscription service. No specific numbers were reported, but the network claims these stats outstripped the previous record spurred by the 2017 Grammy Awards in February.
I guess
signing up for the Grammys?
I don't know.
Who cares
man.
that much?
Who's signing? I guarantee CBS. I'm so upset about this. I'm trying to pick my words carefully because, but fuck it. I'm guessing there's probably like 100 people who have signed up previously to CBS's streaming service, and they all love CSI, and they, for whatever reason, the 17,000 hours a day of CSI on cable isn't enough for them. I'm guessing, based on the reviews that I've read so far and what they're expecting out of this Star Trek series from Trekkies, like from inside the Trek world, they're probably going to be left with about 150 people after this is said and done. Because the show apparently isn't very good. Like, by all accounts, it's not a great Star Trek show. Like, if you're really into Star Trek. I think the quote I read today, which was my favorite quote about it, was today, is like, well, at least Enterprise isn't the worst Star Trek show anymore.
Oh, wow. Even though directors are in charge of creating movies, selling those movies to people is usually none of their business. And sometimes that can have consequences, like the way the Bohemian Rhapsody cut of the trailer for Suicide Squad actually reportedly led to rewrites of the movie's tone and structure. In other cases, it can actually spoil your biggest reveal, something Kingsman the Golden Circle director Matthew Vaughn knows all too well. In an interview with IGN, Vaughn called it stupidity that the trailer revealed Colin Firth's Harry Hart was actually alive, even though he'd been killed in the first Kingsman movie. And it wasn't an ambiguous, never found the body kind of death. He was shot in the face. So bringing him back for the sequel...
I love how you said that. Spoiler alert, guys.
So bringing him back for the sequel was obviously going to be a big deal, and one that Vaughn wishes could have been kept out of the promotional material.
Right? So, I mean, I saw that too. Like, I noticed him in the trailer, and I was like...
That's a big deal.
That's a pretty big reveal.
Yeah, I remember
to
being
just
disappointed to
roll
see
out
that.
in the trailer. Like, we're about to go see this movie right now. Like, as soon as we're done recording, we're going to post the episode, and we're going to go roll out and see this movie so that we can tell you whether or not it's any good. And I'm super disappointed that I know that he's alive and in this movie.
Yeah, because that would have been a great moment.
It's a huge. It should be a huge moment.
Yeah.
I don't understand how nobody at the studio caught that and was like, "Hey, we probably shouldn't make that review. We probably shouldn't spoil this."
Continuing Matthew Vaughn, he was director of the Kingsman series, but he was also a producer on the 2015 Fantastic Four movie, or as we like to call it, Fan-4-Stick. It was the third terrible film 20th Century Fox made starring those characters, and in a new interview, Vaughn says he'd like to atone for that. Vaughn said, "I wouldn't mind maybe making a Fantastic Four film to apologize to everyone out there, that maybe it didn't go very well for them. It's brilliant. One of my favorites is the Fantastic Four, so maybe one day I'll try to rectify the mistake."
I'm just not ready for another Fantastic Four film franchise. It's too soon. I'm just not ready. I'm not emotionally prepared to sit through that shit again.
Well, I mean, you're assuming it's going to be bad.
It's the Fantastic Four.
I'm sure there's a way to tell a good Fantastic Four story. Oh, and J. Mike there nodding no, the Superman fan.
Yeah, you just settle down. You settle down. We'll get to you in a second, buddy.
You can't do it.
It just can't be done. I don't. There's
You'll
nothing
regret
about
those words.
There's
in the
just
next
nothing
story.
about the Fantastic Four that I'm super excited about seeing on the big screen.
Yeah, I can't say I'm not a Fantastic Four fan. I can't say there's anything that really excites me about them. But I have to believe there's a way to work with those characters to make an exciting story. I mean, well, and they've been done well once before, just not as the Fantastic Four. They've been done well as the Incredibles. So it isn't that a good story can't be told with them. It's just we need someone who understands the core of what makes those characters.
What makes a good movie?
Yeah, exactly. Well, Vaughn has been frequently mentioned as a frontrunner for the job to direct a sequel to Man of Steel, and while we can't really confirm whether or not that's true, the director himself did recently reveal that he had in fact had at least fielded a call about a potential Superman sequel. After setting the internet on fire with that revelation, he once again touched on the matter in a separate interview with Collider, and he went on to tease his potential take on Superman, which is something that should go over pretty well with fans of the kid from Smallville. He said, "Weirdly, if I did do Superman, and I made the mistake of telling someone yesterday I've spoken about it, and then, well, I think my main take would be, it's really boring, but make a Superman film."
That's a great sell so far.
Right? "I just don't feel a proper Superman. I think Donner did it to perfection for that time. Just doing the modern... I want to do a modern version of the Donner version. Go back to the source material. For me, Superman is color, feel-good, heroic. He's a beacon of light in darkness. And that's what I think Superman should be."
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you like the dour, moody, grumpy Superman that we currently have is awful, just dreadful. Not every superhero needs to be tortured. However, I will say this. I am more ready for a Fantastic Four reboot than I am for another Superman film.
Well, I'd like to agree with you. Like, I still would love to see Superman done right. I don't think it's possible, but you know.
All right, so what would that look like for you? What is a Superman movie done right? What do you have to do to make a Superman movie done right?
Times. I don't think I've mentioned it recently. To me, a Superman movie done right is not a Superman movie. It's a Lex Luthor movie. Because the thing is, Superman isn't I just don't think there's enough character to him to make him interesting. And to be honest, I think it'd be more interesting to make him the antagonist, but a good guy antagonist. Whereas you focus on Luthor as a guy who is sort of the champion of human ingenuity and human ability, but then he takes that to the further extremes of like devolving from just a champion for humanity and human potential, but devolving into what makes him a villain, and the idea of like, all right, sometimes you see these great figures who've done great things sometimes devolve into like greedy people, and
like Bill Nye the Science Guy.
I'm going to move on from that one. I'm not saying I agree. I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just saying I'm moving on.
Oh, really? After you tried to back me in a corner on the freaking race relations, now all of a sudden.
Okay, I'm not a fan of Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Thank you. That's all I'm asking. That's all I need to hear.
Especially his new show.
His new show's shit.
His new show is all politics, and I'm not a fan of it. It's easier to back you into race stuff because you're white. Anyway.
Fair.
And you're just generally disagreeable, too.
Fair enough, yeah. I automatically come off as an asshole.
Right.
So it's an easy fight for you to win.
Yeah, it is. I won't pretend that it's not. But yeah, going back to Luthor, though, I think I think you want to believe in what he believes in, but his insecurities get a hold of him. His insecurities in seeing the potential for what people can be, because Superman is supposed to symbolize, sort of actualized people, sort of this idea that we can be even greater than what we think we can be. And I think if he sees that and he's afraid of that and his insecurities take over, I think there's a much more interesting character there. Because the thing is, again, Superman is such a symbol in the same way that Cap is a symbol. Because and what makes Cap interesting in his movies so far hasn't been
steroids.
Yes, steroid use has been a big reason that. But sort of the idea, like his stories haven't really been about the character himself as much as it's been sort of his ideals, the man out of time, the idea of his version of what America was and what's considered noble and what the ideals he stood for are in sort of as a propaganda machine in World War II, and then later on in sort of the changing landscape of the world in the age of terrorism post Cold War, and then the idea of vigilantism as well. Like he's a great character to put up against ideals, and I think that's what you have to do with Superman as well.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I still don't think it would be very interesting because ultimately there isn't anything that Superman can't beat.
Yeah, and that's why I think he has to be the antagonist. He's not. You have to in some way sympathize with who he's taking down, because that's where I have found Superman the Animated Series interesting, is when I saw like a Parasite or a Metallo, and the characters were much more interesting because of the ways their fall from grace. And I sympathized with sort of, okay, these are people who are fallen more than Superman necessarily being someone who's trying to live up to, any Krypton bullshit society.
Nonsense, yeah.
Ideals. It is very compelling because he's going to live up to it.
Yeah.
So cease and desist letters, well, they're rarely, if ever, polite, but this one from Netflix sent to an unauthorized Stranger Things bar doesn't conform to the standard style of legal messaging. The letter starts out, Danny and Doug, my walkie-talkie is busted, so I had to write this note instead. I heard you launched a Stranger Things pop-up bar at your Logan Square location. Look, I don't want you to think I'm a total wasteoid, and I love how much you guys love the show. Just wait until you see season 2. But unless I'm living in the Upside Down, I don't think we did a deal with you for this pop-up. You're obviously creative type, so I'm sure you can appreciate that it's important for us to have a say in how our fans encounter the worlds we build. We're not going to go full Dr. Brenner on you, but we ask that you please, 1, not extend the pop-up beyond its 6-week run ending in September, and 2, reach out to us for permission if you plan to do something like this again. Let me know as soon as possible if you agree to those requests. We love our fans more than anything, but you should know the Demogorgon is not always as forgiving. So please don't make us call your mom. that this kind of writing is coming out of Netflix's legal department shows not just that creativity is valued across the company, but that there's a refreshing awareness that cease and desist letters are marketing materials too. And usually ones that have made public don't reflect too well on the brand.
Well played, Netflix. I hope that when we finally get our cease and desist letter, that it's as well written as that. Then we can hang it up on the wall of like, hey, we finally made it. Those guys really hated our shit. That's my dream. That's my dream. I love these pop-up bars. Can we just talk for a moment about how amazing these pop-up bars? We just had the Game of Thrones one here in DC. I wish that we had managed to go to that and find time to go to that. Case went a bunch of times, I know, because he had it in there. We didn't get to go, but I hope that there's some more in DC. I know they have the Star Wars one, the Cantina out in LA.
Yeah.
Which I really want to go to. I think Kevin Smith just did a podcast from there.
Did he really?
Yeah, which is the coolest thing ever.
Right.
So, I hope that these pop-up bars continue. I think they're great ideas. I love it.
Well, Star Wars Rebels returns for its fourth and final season beginning Monday, October 16th on Disney XD. Many episodes will be broadcast back-to-back through November 13th, which is a bit of a format change. So you can mark your calendars for the following episodes. What's also great with these episode titles, it can also give you room for speculating on what's happening in these
Wild
stories.
Speculation!
Exactly. So on October 16th, we have Heroes of Mandalore.
It's going to be about Mandalorians.
Apparently that episode has already been shown at either Star Wars Celebration or Comic-Con. I don't remember which.
It was a Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah.
And it was about Mandalorians.
On the 23rd, we have an episode, parts 1 and 2, In the Name of the Rebellion.
It's about the rebellion.
On the 30th, we have 2 episodes. The first episode is called The Occupation, and then there's Flight of the Defender.
I have no idea.
The TIE Defender.
Right. TIE Defender.
and an occupation.
And some sort of occupation, probably of Lothal.
And we've got November 6th.
So annoying you right now.
I don't know. I'm liking the bit, but I have a love it. It's a weird
love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
With it. I feel the same way. Let's keep it going.
On November 6th, we have an episode called Kindred, and then an episode called Crawler Commanders.
It's about friends.
And on the 13th, we have the mid-season finale, Rebel Assault.
People are gonna die.
So following that holiday break, though, Star Wars Rebels will be back in early 2018 for its final run of episodes leading up to the top secret series finale.
Yeah, okay, I heard like a weird rumor about this. You'll know.
Yeah.
I heard this is on at like 1 a.m. or something weird like that.
So it's like at 5. So they have actually 5 different times throughout Monday. Like 12:30 is the first one, 3 a.m. is the second one. I think 7:30 is the third one. I will definitely be setting alarms for. I'm deciding by 12:30 or 3 a.m. Yeah.
3 a.m. Are you out of your damn mind?
Dude, for the first season of Daredevil, I'll set the alarm for 4 a.m.
I'll stay up for 12:30. I won't get up at
I'll go
3.
to bed early for that.
No, you won't.
Maybe.
No, you won't.
I might.
You won't.
I might stay up for it.
You'll stay up for 12:30.
Yeah.
12:30 is easy to stay up for. I'm usually
That's true.
I'm usually
I've done it
up
plenty
then.
of times.
I'm up that way. I'm up then anyway.
Yeah,
like that's a no-brainer for me.
I usually go to bed at like 1, so I mean it makes sense
Right.
that I could probably just stay up a little longer.
Not even a little longer. It ends at 1.
Yeah.
Or I guess because
No,
they're doing
it'll
2
be
episodes.
1:30.
So 1:30 is a half
Yeah.
hour, and it'll be great half hour.
That's
you won't
true.
be able to go to sleep till 3 o'clock.
That's true. And then just watch the
Then you'd be
repeat.
like, I'm going to watch it again. I liked it so much. And then just, die the next day.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm more concerned about.
Whatever.
Well, according to a report from Hollywood Reporter, J.J. Abrams' decision to sign on for another Star Wars film is not going over well with the home of Star Trek. While Abrams and Paramount have a positive relationship with one another for over a decade, thanks to Star Trek, Mission Impossible, and the Cloverfield films, then Paramount CEO Brad Grey was reportedly upset with Abrams when he made the decision to direct Star Wars The Force Awakens in 2015. Once Force Awakens wrapped, Grey began renegotiating for Abrams' next Paramount projects. The resulting deal, which runs through the summer of 2018, is now up in the air because Abrams is booked to direct Episode 9 until 2019, something that has apparently irked current Paramount CEO Jim Giannopoulos. He is not pleased with the current situation, but has accepted that it's better to not fight Abrams and the various heads at Lucasfilm.
Not only is he not fighting them, I heard they gave him a cool $1 million in cash.
To just release them.
And he was like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody wins in this
Yeah.
scenario. Everybody wins.
Yeah.
I mean, chances are, as soon as this is done, Abrams is going to come back to Paramount to really, to do whatever his next dream project is. He's going to have all the power in the world to do whatever he wants to make, and he'll do it at Paramount, and they're going to make bags and bags of cash. And in the meantime, they got $1 million that they can throw at another director, big name director, to make whatever projects they're working on. This is a win-win for everybody.
So, trailer for Wes Anderson's latest film dropped last week. His stop-motion movie, Isle of Dogs, is set to release next year on March 23rd, 2018.
This looks like everything I want from Wes Anderson.
So cool.
Quirky. It's weird. The cast is killer.
As always.
Oh, he gets the best casts.
Yeah.
He really does. Everybody loves to work with Wes Anderson because he's a true artist.
Yeah.
Like his movies.
He's an auteur.
His movies aren't for everybody.
Yeah.
For sure. My wife hates them.
I think I had to went for what was the hotel one? I forget.
Budapest.
Yes, the Grand Budapest Hotel. I think I rented it from Netflix on Netflix DVD, and you just came over to watch it.
Yeah, I was like, Jenny was never
going to
sit through this. No, I made her sit through the Royal Tannenbaums, and I'm pretty sure she was going to kill me at the end of it. She was so upset with that movie.
Such a great movie.
Yeah, I love that movie. I was quoting it the other day. Don't you stab me, or that's the last time you stab me again, you son of a bitch. I forget who I told that to. I think it was somebody at work.
It's such a great movie. You have a very healthy workplace.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So some upcoming shows and movies to be on the lookout for. We have the actual premiere of the Inhumans miniseries on ABC on the 29th, on September 29th. Then we have Curb Your Enthusiasm is returning to HBO on October 1st. And then The Gifted is coming to Fox, brand new series on October 2nd. That's the brand new X-Men series coming from Matt Nix. This is one working with sort of like it's more of a family drama, and that's sort of on the run, sort of. I think it's basically like you've got a family who have a couple mutants. The dad works for basically the company that runs the Sentinel program, so he goes on the run with them, and they're being chased. And we have
it looks really cool.
It really does. They've got Blink is going to be in this one, so some major X-Men names. What's the fighter Native American dude?
Warpath.
Yes. Warpath is in there. Polaris is in there. So they've got some.
It's got some real potential. Yeah, it's unclear whether or not they're going to be reoccurring.
Yeah.
Or like constant.
Well, no, they're main cast.
They are main cast.
Yeah.
I thought I had read somewhere that there was like they'll be in and out of the story.
I guess they might be, but it seems like they're definitely marketing them as like enough to do press tours for this show.
Oh, so, that's good.
Yeah. So we'll find Amy Acker is going to be on there as well, who always a huge fan of hers on stuff like Alias and Person of Interest. So I'm really looking forward to this series. Hopefully it is going to be good. So all of those shows are coming real soon in the next week. So be on the lookout for the good ones. Inhumans you could probably skip, but I'm going to watch it. It's only 8 episodes. And good chance that that's all it's going to be. So
if it makes it that long, it's a race between which is getting canceled first. Star Trek or Inhumans.
I think Inhumans will make it through its full run because they've already paid for it.
True.
Because IMAX has already paid for it. They're not losing any more money by just putting it on the air.
They just may not go any further.
Yeah, and the other thing is in properties like this, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had honestly bad ratings for a long time. The type
Still
of ratings.
Does.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, because the thing is, even though the ratings are bad, they still appeal to an audience that's so loyal and is an audience that will buy products that in that case
they can still sell.
Exactly. So the advertising still works for them, even with the ratings being so low, because it's such a rabid fan base.
Right.
So
right.
So sometimes ratings isn't always the deciding factor.
As this show proves.
Yes, exactly.
Tell your friends, by the way, about certain point of view.
Which leads perfectly into don't forget to share all this podcast, another past Scruffy Nerf Herders with your friends and family. All of that is on our website, certainpov.com. All our social media is there, certainpov.com. And until next week, stay scruffy, my Nerf Herders.
Thanks for listening to Certain Point of View. Don't miss an episode. Just subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on iTunes. Head over to certainpov.com.